Alright, hello everybody. I'm JD from JD Creative Arts. Thank you for checking out my channel. If this is your first time here, welcome. I'm happy to have you. And if you've been here before, welcome back. There's a lot of you out there that are thinking about starting oil painting and just don't know where to start. The choices that you've got is overwhelming. You can watch all kinds of videos. They all give you different sorts of information. So I just wanted to give you my opinion on what I think you need to start oil painting. And the first thing we're going to talk about is your brushes. One of the most helpful brushes that you're going to find is going to be the 1-inch brush. And this is a natural hog hair brush. I've had great success with these brushes. I would recommend using a natural hog hair brush versus synthetic, but that's just my personal choice. If you want to try using synthetic and you have success with it, then that's great. Another brush that you're going to want to look into is a fan brush. You know, this is a number 3. There's all kinds of sizes out there. There's all kinds of brands out there. So you just have to choose which brand that you like the most. And this one too is a natural hog hair brush. A lot of the natural hog hair brushes are going to be white bristles. This one I've had a lot of, this is a brand new one, but I've had a lot of success with these brushes too. And another thing that you're going to need is a palette knife. This is a number 10. And again, there's all different shapes and sizes. This is the number 10. They have a number 5, which is just a smaller version of this one. You have the traditional palette knife. It's whatever you decide works for you the best. A lot of the choices you're going to make when in your art and in your oil painting and as far as your supplies, it's just going to be personal preference. Just because I say this is what you need doesn't mean that's what you're going to get. So this is all personal opinion. This is all based on personal experience and what I've had the most success with. Now, one more brush, you don't necessarily have to need it right when you start, but if you want to, it helps when you're drawing like tree branches and stuff, and that's the script liner brush. You know, this is the Bob Ross script liner. It's got the long bristles, and then you can find the brands that got a little bit shorter bristles. It's whatever you decide you want. And the next thing we're going to talk about is your paint. Now you go into your local art and craft store, and just the paint choices just can be very overwhelming. There's all kinds of brands, colors. So my suggestion would be, you know, find whatever brand you like, and I would start out simple and just get black and titanium white. You know, do monochromatic paintings until you're able to get the hang of the technique. And then from there you can expand out however you want. But I will give you this tip: you don't have to have every paint color that particular company makes. There's some of these companies that have 153 different paints out there, and you don't have to have all of those. I fell into that trap too. I've got a giant box in there full of paint I'll very rarely use, if I ever use it. So, you know, narrow down the paint that you use. That way you end up working with a very limited palette, and then your color choices as far as mixing are going to be a lot less overwhelming. You're going to have a lot less choices to go from. Now your painting surfaces, you have several choices. You can use stretch canvas, you can use canvas boards, you can use canvas pads, you can use canvas paper. It's whatever you decide that works best for you. You know, each one of them has their own, each one of them has cons, each one of them has pros. It's whatever you decide. Some of them are more economical than others. I do a lot of my practice paintings on canvas paper. Now, if you choose to use stretch canvases, those economy packs that you can get for $15, $20 will work just fine. You don't have to go spend $5, $10, $15 for one stretch canvas just because it's better. If you don't want to do that, get those economy brands. Then they work just fine. As far as your palette, you have, again, a myriad of different choices. You can get a wood palette, you can get an acrylic palette, you can get palette paper. I've even been known to use wax paper. You don't have to run out and buy that big $40, $50 Bob Ross palette if you don't want to. Most of the time I just use palette paper because the cleanup's easy. As far as an easel, you don't even have to have an easel if you don't want to. If you just want to lay it on the table, or you find something to prop it up and paint that way, that's fine. If you do decide to get an easel, you do not have to go out and buy one of those $300, $400, $500, $600 studio easels. A good tabletop easel, I'll turn my camera around so you can see mine. A good tabletop easel works just fine. You just want to make sure that it has this piece right here that's able to push down on the canvas and hold it on there. And those economy brand easels are just fine. I would give you one caution is make sure it's not a display easel, because a lot of times those display easels are not meant for the abuse that you're going to put them through. When you put in a mountain and you go to mist up the bottom of the mountain and you're pounding that brush on there, there's a lot of those display easels their legs are going to give out on you, and they're just going to fall over. So you don't want that. Make sure that you at least get a decent artist easel. And like I said, a tabletop is just fine. You don't have to have the big expensive studio easel. And your medium, your most common mediums are going to be your liquid clear and your liquid white. There are always alternatives you can use. You can use linseed oil instead of the liquid clear. And as far as the liquid white, you can take some of your linseed oil, mix in some of your titanium white oil paint, and make it really runny like the liquid white would be. I think I had an instructor tell me it's about a 50-50 mixture of titanium white oil paint and linseed oil would make about the same consistency as a liquid white. And there's not just one brand of those liquid mediums. As far as the liquid white, yes, there's a Bob Ross brand, but Grumbacher also makes a brand too. So, or you can make your own. It's whatever you decide to choose. One tip I would give you is I wouldn't be too worried about getting the liquid black, because I've been doing this for a few years. I've never used liquid black. Liquid clear and liquid white are the two that I use the most. So those are the two that I have. But again, you choose the brand that you like, or however you want to do it. If you just want to use linseed oil and mix it in, linseed oil is a little bit thinner than the liquid whites are going to be, so you're not going to need as much linseed oil as you would the other two mediums. Now, some other things that you could look into would be, and I would really suggest having, obviously you're going to want some old clothes. You're not going to want to mess up your good clothes. You're going to end up with paint on you from time to time. You're not going to want to mess up your good clothes. So find you some old clothes. Paper towels. You're going to use a lot of paper towels, so keep those close. And baby wipes. Baby wipes are amazing at taking oil paint off of you. And they don't have to be the name brands. They can be the little cheap store brands, if that's what you choose to use. So like I said, a lot of the materials that you're going to choose are going to be personal preference, and you don't even have to get all the materials that I said. If you don't want to get all the brushes that I said, that's fine. It's all personal preference. This whole video is just my personal opinion. If you agree with it, that's great. If you don't, that's great too. I'm not going to require you to agree with me on my opinion on my videos. I'm just telling you what I've had the most success at, and how I feel you would have a lot of success at it. But let me make sure I've got everything covered. Oh, thinner. Thinner is something else that you're going to need. Now, if you're working with water mixable oils, I don't have any experience with those, so the only thing I would say is if you're using water mixable oils, I would not recommend using any Bob Ross brushes that you bought with water mixable oils, because I know from experience that will damage those brushes and will really shorten the life of them. But as far as thinner, you're going to need odorless thinners, odorless thinner for artists. That's not the hardware store thinner. There are a lot of impurities in that hardware store thinner that are refined out of artist thinner that would eat up your brushes. Now, thinner is not the only thing you can use. You can use odorless mineral spirits. You can use Gamsol is something else that you can use. It's whatever you choose to use. But if you do use thinner, then, like I said, make sure it's the odorless thinner for artists. So it's more pure and more refined than that hardware store thinner. As far as a thinner bucket and the screen and all that, you can go get one. That's completely up to you. I hardly ever use mine. I ended up making my own using an old can from a can of vegetables, and then making me a little screen to go on the bottom of it. I don't use my 2-inch brush very much, so I don't really need that big bucket. Another thing that you might think about too is an apron. You know, find you an old apron, but make sure it's a good canvas apron, not the. There's some of those cooking aprons that are really, really thin, and you get paint on those, and the paint goes right through them onto your clothes. You can find, I think they're called chef aprons or something, but the good thick canvas aprons, and you can find those at Walmart, Amazon, wherever you shop. And you can usually get them pretty decent price. They have the ones that go around your neck. They have some that cross over your back and tie down here, so it doesn't put a lot of weight on your neck. It's whatever you choose. So I hope I gave some of y'all some good information, help narrow some things down for you. I thank you for watching, and I wish you the best of luck on your painting journey, and happy painting.